Hello, hello. Happy. I gotta stop doing that. Hello. Ah, nuts. I have Discord open. Get out of here. There we go. I gotta stop doing that clap. I hope it's not loud. Is this loud? I guess it isn't based on the other night, right? It's loud on my end, though. Happy Midway Sunday! I figured we were due for a new face cam. We got a long playthrough ahead of us. I figured we could be a little fluid. It's the morning announcements. It's the morning announcements, but it has a dark energy, knowing what we now know. But hey, welcome, welcome. How are things? How's stuff? How are tricks? You like that one? How are tricks? Sitting on the shelf? Hell yeah. What do we... So there's an audio gallery. Can I hit like a shuffle on this? It looks like no. It looks like there's no shuffle. One stray Gaku. I put the Takumi like this. I don't know if it's like super visible, but it's not really supposed to be. It's supposed to look like a reflection. It's him looking at the monitor. It's kind of raw. It's his resolve. Now he knows he's full of shit. Oh, Debussy's Claire de Lune Moonlight. Da-da. Ba 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 ba. Wa ba ba. Cacophony. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hello, Zebra. I'm so glad we're playing a new Sunday game for us, the 100 Line Last Defense Academy 2. The last Sunday game, the 100 Line Last Defense Academy, was a pretty good game, even though it ended on a bit of a cliffhanger. Let's see if this game is just as good or better and finishes the plot the previous game started. What's up, buddy, bro? Pixel, what is this ditto? You can get a ditto? Oh, cacophony. Cacophony? Oh, no. That's fun. That's a little ditto. I was looking for a shuffle because I'd like some background music. What is this? Head crack. La la lu la la. Is this Gaku song? Oasis in the 100. Talk! Dash and range, sure. Blue drops. That's a new manga coming out. The reason I'm looking for a shuffle, but there is none, which stinks, is, we're gonna do a tier list, and I want some background music. But oh well. We could just put on, is this it? Is it 100 days? We could put this on, I don't know. I'll switch it up if we got it. The cope? Was there a song called that? Which one is Free Time? What's Free Time called? That could be a good one too. Yeah. I like that. And guys. Some guys for us. Who was everybody's favorite? Kingo beat this game recently over the weekend. He like completed it. He got 100 out of 100. We have another in the 100 club. I believe that is Kingo, Naf, and you, right? Who else? Is there anybody else? I think that's it for the Hundo Club. Zebra favorite's hard, I think, because I'll tell you that it's hard for me. Good choices, good choices. So I'm gonna start by saying, I think, at least based off of first run, this is a pretty solid cast. I don't find any of them offensive. That's probably a strong word. They will probably be offensive by the end, but you know, I'm not like I don't like dislike any of them too strongly. Usually I come out of like a Kodaka game being like, yeah, they're like stinkers. But I like this cast quite a bit actually. And obviously, you know, we're coming out of Route 1 or Route 0 or whatever you call it. And some characters didn't get as much to do. And so that is probably going to affect their ranking heavily. But I think this will be an interesting exercise to... We did like, you know, first impressions at the start. And this is kind of like the checkpoint. This is like the checkpoint check-in. How are we feeling about these guys? And then we're going to do one more at the very, very end. When we're finished with everything. And I think it'll be fun to compare all that. And look back on it. So that said, as of right now, call me easy to please or whatever. I don't think there's definitely not a D. And honestly, like right now, I don't even feel strongly about a C. By the end, maybe. Maybe I'll want to punch their faces in. There's just not enough. I don't know. Maybe there's a C. But nobody angered me enough to put me in a C or a D. Nobody disgusted me. Now, that being said, I think there are two very easy choices for B tier right now. And it's because both of them were on screen for like a day or two. That's not true. We had one of them for a couple weeks. But they definitely left before the plot truly started. And the other one is barely a character yet. So I think it's very easy to put Moko and Hiroko down at the bottom. Now, what order? We had Hiroko longer. And I'm very intrigued by her deal. And I thought she was a pretty fun, like, first, like, early game crutch for bits. Before we found our footing, really. But Moko was pretty funny. I actually really enjoyed her for that one session we had her. Um, and I assume her character is like that, even though it was an imposter, because, like, you know, it was good enough to fool everybody, so I assume her character is rooted in that. But I think between the two, they had her memories, so that definitely, like, was her. Pretty much. Like, I can assume her character will be like that. What's up, Sis? What's up, Isaac? You have to do laundry? I mean, that's okay. This is just the listening part anyway. We're not playing the game. Unless you just mean that you're upset you have to do laundry, in which case, I get that. Yeah, I was saying, Isaac, at least based off the first route, this is like one of the strongest Kodaka casts, at least in terms of like floor. I don't feel like anybody like upsets me. You know, we'll see how that goes. They're all hiding knives behind their backs. I think I'm gonna do this for now. I think right now Moko is probably at the bottom. But I could see her shooting up. I liked the bit we had where, like, she was like bluffing about like her achievements, and we like I turned it into like her bluffing about like claiming achievements of other characters from other works, from other streams. Yeah, it's like it's different in that sense. So I had fun, and I'm excited to do her voice more. I think we can refine it a bit. So then I says, she's not your girlfriend, Shulk. Funny stuff. But I think these are two easy ones at the bottom. Hiroko is a witch, and that has yet to be disproven. Hopefully we get more evidence of that. But also I'm excited to just, like, get her back. It was really funny using her in the simulation battles. Like how they kept her around for those, because like you can't buff her or anything. So as you get like, as the game gets more complex and you get more moves for your guys, using Hiroko in those sim battles is like, oh, she does one thing. So I want to like build her and see what she has in that kit. But I think she's cool. I still think her design is really cool. I really want to know her deal. I'm actually very intrigued going into the rest of this to see like what she has to offer, kind of. Like, where were we gonna go from her turning point there? Was she gonna become like warm and receptive to the team? Probably not, but maybe begrudgingly. But who knows? But now I gotta talk about everybody else who was around for a while, and now it gets hard. I don't have two easy ones to throw under the bus. No, you're not driving the bus. I don't have two easy ones to throw under the bus. Now I have to decide on my least favorite from Route Zero, which is overdubbed by Ato, yes. And you can see Takumi in the reflection, Sis, because he's on to his shit now. It's supposed to be kind of raw, Sis. It's supposed to be Takumi's, like, resolve. It's him looking at it. Because, like, it plays on a monitor, right? Like, even though it's up in the corner of his room, you know, I just imagine he's, like, he's done. He's tired, and he's just watching this announcement, and he's like, I'm gonna get you. Who is my least favorite, though? I'm looking at all of them, and I'm like, I love these guys. They're all my babies. Okay, this is tough. I think I'm doing this because while I find them entertaining, I feel like almost like the two at the bottom here. They're like their cards are held close to their chest, I would say. I think there's more for this character in what's coming up. But on Route Zero, I almost feel like intentionally they were like, I guess sidelined maybe? Sidelined is not the right term because they were always yapping. But like, I feel like they have, I feel like they didn't take a very active role in anything. And we're more like comic relief. But maybe that's just their nature. But I have high hopes going into the next stretch. Because I feel like they got something cooking. So at the risk of rising an angry mob, I think I'm going to put Darumi next. But I'm putting her at bottom of A. Simply because, I don't know. Did anybody else get that vibe? Almost that like she's like not actively participating in this. She's always talking about her own shit. I guess she saved the school that one time. She's very much in the background. Doesn't actually want attention. Right. But make no mistake, I do find her very entertaining. She's really funny. Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about him when I get there, but I do have some interesting things to say about him. Who is next? This is tough. I felt a little more ready last week before like the final stuff happened. But the final stuff like shook some things up. I think I can still pretty easily do this though. At this point in the game, I think I can still pretty easily say. And I know a lot of this is intentional by design of the game. I think I'm gonna put Takumi next. Simply because he spends so much of Route Zero being very passive in an almost frustrating way. Which again, I know is intentional to the design. Like now he's gonna be like active. And I definitely got that vibe like even just by the end last week. But through Route Zero, he let me down a lot. I just felt like sometimes he was being very obtuse and frustrating. When I know he seems to, yeah, that's the thing. Like he's at the mercy of the storytelling. But I'm very excited for Takumi with more agency because he does seem to like have it in his internal monologue. I want to see him go off the wall. I still think he has like potential to be a pretty exciting protagonist, but he hasn't really tapped into that yet. But I mean, he makes for a funny. I mean, as with all of these games, he makes for a funny like straight man to all these wacky losers. He loves free time in Karawa. I think his plight with Karawa is genuinely so like, oh man. Yeah, no, genuinely, the twins arc made me like mad at him. I really didn't like that. I'm glad the outcome was good. I fear the possibility that there's a route where that doesn't go so well. Dreaming about she, timing about free. Yeah, I'm worried about the... There'll be cringe in here. There's bound to be. There's bound to be plenty. To what nature? I don't know. Next. No, come on. Well, I mean, we'll make it fun. I intend to make it all fun. That's my job. Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's definitely there to create drama. But a lot of the language used by Takumi just makes me uncomfortable. Like, I'm like, come on, man. Why are you, like, approaching it like this? Yeah. Whose idea was what? Ima approached Takumi and like threatened him pretty much. And Takumi like folded immediately and was like, "Yeah, you're right. Let's let me help you to control Kako. let's rein her in and get her under control." Oh, I don't think Eito had a part in that. I could be wrong. It's very hand-waved right after also. But that's just whatever. Okay. Next. It's just, it's really hard. This is... this is hard. I'm gonna go next, I think... Like from here on, it's just, there's no winning. I'm looking at two of them. I'm trying to think who I like more. Yeah, I mean, I'll share my take on Ima when I get there, but I have... I don't think it's any surprise that he's, like, pretty high. So it'll be a while before we get to him. I think next... This is tricky, but I'm gonna do it. I'm taking the wheel. I think Tsubasa is delightful. I like her taste in clothing, her taste in brands. I don't think she was ever like at the forefront. At least in our reading of this. But I did enjoy. I think the puke thing is pretty funny. I think it actually stops being like very overused, I think, or at least I stopped noticing it. When she actually joins. Maybe she conditioned me. But I think it's pretty funny. I think her Kirby noise is funny. I think she's like the next closest thing to like a sane person in this cast. Well, I mean, maybe one or two more, but like she's one of the only like sane people in this cast. And she's enjoyable in that sense. She's a good like voice of reason. She is sometimes a little too much of a voice of reason, I think. Sometimes I'm just like, relax, Tsubasa. We're already there. Let's just go forward with this. But I like her voice lines. Very, very much the Hina coded like Sis character. That's how I would describe her. She has funny voice lines and she's nice. I struggled to really make a good use of her in battle, which I mentioned many times, but I'm kind of like ready to. I think we realized in like the last battle. It really depends who she's paired up with. But those buffs can be really good. I just like hope that the battles in this second phase allow for a little more, I don't know about customization, but just like, I don't know, shake things up a little. I feel like a lot of people have underutilized kits. But I had fun with her. I think she was kind of on and off some weeks. I really enjoyed having her be like Nozomi's like rival in a very one-sided way. I think a one-sided rivalry is a funny thing to do. And I also loved any opportunity I got to bring up her grandpa. Which I'm sure we'll have plenty other opportunity to do. But I think that was a funny angle for her. But I don't think she goes much higher. She wasn't as like bit heavy or like in the spotlight as many of these other characters. And speaking of which, I think next, because of that, I'm going to put a character with a similar sort of vibe. A character I like a lot, but I don't think we put much into them the way we did with a lot of the others. And so that's going to be Takamaru, who we will hang out with more. We will hang out more with him. But he has kind of a similar thing where like, I mean, I use him a lot in battle, but his kit is like, his kit's missing something. He feels like the most incomplete character to me in battle. Just because, like, I know he has the tanking. And he has high mobility and all that, but I just, like, I don't know. I'm sure he'll... Maybe I'm just not, like, acknowledging his strengths well enough, but... I feel like he's missing a move. I don't know what he's missing. He has, like, provoke, and he has, like, tank. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, I said this at the beginning. This is a type of character that I do typically like. I do enjoy this character, but I have seen it so many times that, like, he has to do a little something extra to set himself apart. And I don't know that he has yet, but I do like him. Like, I do enjoy having him around. Yeah, exactly. I don't think he has done anything too different. I loved his little arc with Shoma. I do love his relationship to the team. I love that he's kind of like a leaderly type almost. I think that's a little different from this type of character. He does seem to just be like, I don't know if I would say the heart of the team, but he does like hold the team together. He talks to everybody. He knows everything about everyone except for Takumi. He has sat down and had tea and biscuits with everyone. He lives a secret life that we don't get to see. And I think because of that, it also makes this cast feel a little more alive to me. The idea that they're talking to each other behind the scenes. Like, it's not just all revolving around Takumi. Which I like. I like doing his voice. It's an easy voice to do. It's just a brutish voice. Oh, if we could talk about voices. I like doing his voice. Tsubasa is just a generic girl voice, but that works, I think. Takumi, I kind of go for... I almost go for like a Grant George. That's kind of the voice I'm going for with him. Just like a little lower pitch voice kind of for Takumi. I don't know. Darumi, easy enough. Just a wacky zany. This is kind of like a Mitsuru almost, like a dark Mitsuru. Like a dark, fucked up Mitsuru. And definitely like a higher pitched, kind of like a Carmine, but it's like my Sporjo kind of. But like a female take on that. Just, you know, that kind of Brooklyn-y accent, or almost like a Jersey accent, maybe. I don't know. there's a Venn diagram there. I think also, like, I'm pretty happy with where we landed on voices with like this whole cast, pretty much. Again, like at the beginning, I was worried about Nozomi until we found her quirk. I was worried about her because she was the same, like I was doing the same like generic like Zabrag girl voice that I did for Tsubasa, but we found the cadence. And it did a lot for her. And now we are at the point where I struggle for the rest of this. I think there is an easy next choice. At least within the bounds of the playthrough. But I like them a lot. But I don't know if they can go much higher right now. So I think I'll do it now. Because after this, it's just like the Titans, I feel. The Titans being half the cast. But much like Takamaru, this next character is absolutely a Zebra character. But I don't think we've done much with them yet, compared to some others. Yeah, this feels about right. But again, I'm very excited to see them do more. Absolutely an enjoyable character. Probably, like, if not for the stream playthrough, I could see them being one of my favorites. But the rest of these guys are so funny. I have so much fun with the rest of them. So I think I'm going to put Kurara next. Just because I feel like there's potential yet untapped. Funny gal. I soul read her as being one of my like favorites. Kurara's too funny on her own. No, not really. We haven't done much with her. Just kind of read her pretty straight. I think the closest we've done is like teasing at something with Gaku. But that's like a Gaku thing. A man who's already a bit of a titan here. But otherwise, I've just read her pretty straight. But I do enjoy her thoroughly. Again, a lot like Takamaru. I would say these two are down to their, like, blood, very Zebra characters. I really enjoy the turret mechanic. I love how expressive the tomato face is. I think it's pretty awesome. I really like the one where she puts her two sleeves up. Like a big vampire or something. That's one of my favorite portraits in the game. she's a big Nicky Nine Doors. Putting her two sleeves up. She's so small. She wears such a big jacket. It's funny. Yeah. I don't know. The tomato rules. And also, it didn't happen a lot on Route Zero, which I think was good. But when the mask comes off, I hope it doesn't happen too often, but I do hope there is a route where she just loses the tomato. I think that could be funny. We could see like a totally different side of her. Again, I think if not for just like us injecting humor into many of these characters, she'd probably place a lot higher. I think standalone, she's like a really fun character. But we'll see what happens. And now I think the rest of these characters... Well, no, there might be one more A. Well, no, there might be... Well... Oh, I like these guys. I think I am ready for my next one, though. I think I'm going to put them bottom of S. Maybe top of A. Top of A, bottom of S. I don't want my S tier to be too bloated is the thing. But a lot of these characters are very close for me. So, like, I don't know. I think there is one more A. And that's Nozomi. Who, let me tell you, most improved, I think. In terms of, like, my, how I was feeling about her. I think at the beginning, I was like ready to be like, all right, whatever. Like, Takumi's like childhood crush who's like forgot about him. This is gonna be an annoying story arc. Blah blah blah. I think stream notwithstanding, she is one of my favorite characters in the game. Like, period. She's cool. I think she's cool. She had so many good moments. Elephant in the Room, I love doing her voice. I think she has a hilarious voice. But, like, even without that, I've just enjoyed, like, every time she's been on screen since, like... Can I pinpoint when? No, her beginning is rough. I didn't like her in that initial arc. I thought she was lame. I think around the Moko arc is where I'm like, oh, like she's all business. She pushes through the pain. And I think what like truly like locked her in as just being a character I really liked, that scene like near the end, where, you know, everybody gets in the pod. The Supreme Commander like kills Ima. And then, like, everybody's just... It's, like, all silent, and then she launches out the out the pod and just like she's just all business, ready to go. Even though all these people like betrayed her and were awful to her, she's just ready to fight for them. That scene, I was like, dang, she's good. I still think like the fact that she is Karuha, or still maybe not somehow. I'm actually holding out at this point that she's not her. As crazy as that may be, I think there's more to it. Now, as crazy as it may sound, now that we have evidence that she's Karuha, I think she's not her. Maybe she's like a clone or something. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'm excited to hear more of her story. Yes, she. Whenever Takumi does something awful, she does that little smile, like look down portrait, and I'm like, oh, she does that smile and look down portrait, and I'm like, she hates his ass. No, because like that portrait, you can see the thoughts going on in her head. Out of context, it just looks like a nice little idol pose. I think in context, it's, oh my god, she's just keeping a smile on her face like she is not happy. She was hurt by what we said. Love doing her voice. The cock shaming one? When was that? She also had funny friends in her room. I'm excited to see her do more. I liked how she never played into Tsubasa's little rivalry. I love her friendship with the girls. I love the charisma she like seems to exude, like among the second to last Defense Academy guys. They all love her. They're ride or die until the end, which is sad. Let's it go. I forgot about that. But yeah, I don't know. And I think the flashbacks are nice, even though they're really funny. How frequently they happen, and how she always says something like, I guarantee it. I guarantee it is a phrase that's ruined for me now also. I just want you to know that no one can say I guarantee it anymore. It's ruined. Common household phrase that's gone. Like many things, it's just gone now. Oh well. Oh well, we have many others. So much has been lost doing this. Is it all worth it in the end? Language has been ruined. Alright, next, I think I'm moving into S tier. I know. There's a lot of people on the list still, but these are all, like, these are the funniest characters in this playthrough, I think. And the one I'm going to start with at the bottom of S is, I think, the character that is most carried just by having a funny read on him. And I think that's going to be Yugamu, who I have had a blast with, if you can't tell. I have had a darn blast with this guy. Do I think, had I not been streaming this, he would be this high? Yeah, I don't think he would be anywhere near the top. I think he'd be fine. But I think just the way I've had him interact with the cast has been very entertaining to me. I also love him in battle. I think he's one of the most fun characters in the game. I love doing his voice. I think everything he does, everything he says just comes very naturally to me. I think he's an easy character to just riff with, kinda. I forget what my read on him was initially, but I think I said that he'd I probably wouldn't like love him. So I think that was like a fair enough. Oh, let's see. Is this gonna like screw? No. Oh, it's so small. No. That's a funny one. I think when he saves Ima, I thought that was one of the coolest like character moments, or like bringing the poison onto the field into saving Ima was like one of the biggest like contributions. Who is she leaning down? It must be for Shoma exclusively. Isn't she pretty tall actually? We gotta check the heights again. I can see her talking to Kako like that. No, somebody's tall. Hiriko is tall, and I know Moko's tall, and Eito is tall. She's shorter than Takumi? Oh, well, that's funny then. No, Kingo. Yugamu, yeah, I don't know. Blast of a character, though. I fear him the most going into... I fear him the most going into the other routes. I feel like he's gonna have something deep and dark and disturbing to do to us. The man watches people. He told us that he examines people's stool. He told us that with his whole chest. I'm ready for him to do something ridiculous. Yeah, he used the term excrement. I'm ready for him to do something, but until then, man, keep being funny. I also totally, like, this is just pure headcanon at the moment, but I totally believe that he, Darumi, and Ima are just, like, trouble. I don't know that they ever interact and get together to make a plan, but if they do, God help us all. He is very unapologetically himself. I genuinely do like that about him. He says what's on his mind. I think he mentioned that, yeah. He said something. Yes, he did. That's how he made the poison. That whole scene was really cool, though. I love, like, any scene where a character's like, I'll catch up to you guys, I got a plan. Gaku did that at one point. Yugamu did that, it was raw. Again, that was also points for Nozomi. I don't know if I talked about that enough. Her taking all the pills, that was cool. She made herself a poison. Like, that's cool. Yeah. The shower was that was genius, because we already had the bit that Gaku was in the room, and I think probably Shoma being in the room was never like played up too much, but he was there. Shoma was one of the boys in the room. But when he went to second to last Defense Academy, it was like, oh, thank God, I'm finally away. I have a room to myself. And this guy he just met is like, hey, what's up, dude? Room for one more? Guy who like already lives in that academy, seeing a new guy move in and being like, oh, score. Funny stuff. And because of that, like, and because of that bit, we have the invisible, non-existent connection. Which I thrive for this in any stream playthrough. To create connections between characters that aren't there. I don't know if that he has ever interacted with, like, Gaku or Shoma, but, like, implicitly, they are, like, kind of homies. As a result of being roomies. It's pretty funny. The fucking boys. Alright, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? We still have 6 left. I think next is probably... Oh, man. I think next I am going... I'm pretty proud of these guys. Some of you I never saw being this high. I think I'm gonna tap out on Shoma. Is that correct? I think it is. I think it is. And what a sweetie little guy. I love him. I know at the beginning I definitely said I'm not gonna like this guy or something. I think I said like he'd probably be one of the lower tiers or he's gonna have to work. But man, session 1 I was like, oh, this bit's gonna be a lot. But we can make it work. And I think we did. I think he's really funny. And he's wholesome. He's a good little guy. He has a little doggy at home. He has a little Leo. I love doing his voice. I love that he has a big mech. He has a whole arc to himself. He did sing It's Not Unusual. Yeah, that was a fun one. That was off the cuff. I think he said it's not unusual in the text, and then I just broke into song. No guts, no glory. His whole bit with the prisoner I thought was pretty endearing. I'm actually excited to see where that goes. I'm positive there'll be more to that. I think reading him as like a disgusting, wretched creature who may or may not produce slime like a slug. Oh, he's a funny little dude. He's also easy just to like riff off of or riff with. I can put him in any scene where I need something funny. I think in battle, I need to use him better because I'm too married to the idea of like needing to use 2 AP to make him useful. But like, you can use the 1 AP. You don't need to provoke if you put him in the right spot. I love maybe this will be something. It's just anything. Yeah, good guy, that Shomes. I love calling him Shomes also. I love the idea that they have to, like Nozomi, they have to crouch down to talk to him. No, he is very much a say a line guy, but I think at times there's a comfort in that. No matter what, like, shit hits the fan, it's like, at least I can count on Shoma to say his line. And when he stops doing that, that's when you get uncomfortable. Alright, top 5, baby. He cleans the bathrooms. He's a good lad. And when he is happy, it's wonderful. Yeah, he dreams of the past. There's a lot. I think there's more to unpack on like all of our dreams. I think, you know, you're supposed to be conditioned to think like Oh, Takumi, he's the main character. He's having all these dreams. But Shoma very much brought that to the party. He was the one who was like, I dreamed about the hospital. And between that and Kako's visions as well, and I still think... You remember the dream Takumi had where he saw Nozomi get like crushed, or he saw Karawa get crushed? And then Nozomi was acting weird the next day. I think she had some kind of dream as well. I think we're all dreaming some dreams. And maybe not sharing them. Possibly. He got buff. That arc was so long. Funny stuff, though. Alright, who's next? Great question. I remember Sizz predicted that. He was like, what if he does the Hunter x Hunter? And then he did. Like, he didn't even, like, he straight up did do it. He did, like, down, it was the same image and everything. It was a direct reference. Very funny. I like that he sometimes does it in the hallways, too. Just inexplicably. Alright, next, I'm gonna give next up to... Tricky Dicky. But I think I got the rest figured out, actually. I'm keeping the boys together. I think Gaku's next. And not even intentionally. I'm not just doing this to be like, oh, the boys. But I do think he's next. Entertaining guy. I was positive just looking at him he would fall into this role. He played his role in the story exactly as I expected. He's this guy. He's this guy of the cast. You can tell just by looking at him. And I think he's pretty entertaining most of the time. He was the toughest voice to figure out. And I still think that sometimes I'm like evolving it a little. Our template for the voice was a guy who I don't know the voice of. I know like 2 things he says. But I think we built off of just the idea of the voice as I understand it. He became almost like a... You can't always have a Kazuichi. I enjoyed Gaku. I think he would probably be a little lower without the stream. But I don't think he would have landed like at the bottom for me. I'm usually pretty warm to this kind of character. He's definitely a dick quite often, or spineless, but I think it's like fine. It works for me. I kind of like Yugamu. He's very unapologetic, which I respect. He's pretty open about his selfishness. And the fact that he does contribute in spite of that, I think is admirable. Mo the Clown! I love saying Gaku on the hunt. Let us not forget the work he put in late game. Both in the final battle and leading up to it. He drew blood from the Supreme Commander. I thought that was a funny bit. Because that battle, like, ended right after that. Hungry like the wolf. The battle ended right after Gaku drew blood, and so the Supreme Commander, like, locked in. They were like, that's the guy I need to kill. Yeah, he's pretty cracked, and he doesn't seem it on the surface. He is very much... I don't know if this is intentional by design, but when you think of a Gatling gun, you think of, like, pouring ammo into it. And I very much think of him as a pour AP into him kind of guy. I don't know if they designed him to function like a Gatling gun. but he does. I think he's a very easy character to have around from the streamer's perspective. Just an entertaining guy to like call out, kind of, or like have say something. What else? His design. I don't know if we've talked about this enough. He has like a Jotaro hat. What's up with that? His design's fine. It's pretty plain, but I think it works. I also love and hate how his clothes are falling apart. I guess like his hair is coming out of the hat because it's like not patched. It's just funny how they like went the Jotaro route of like fusing his hat to his hair. It's Kaku in the car and the mobster's Eito. Yeah, I enjoy Gaku. He sleeps in the bed with Takumi. He may think he owns the room. I guess that's true. His clothes are patched together. Funny guy, that Gaku. And he says, "It's so over." Thanks for the key, bro. That was my favorite bit of like written in lore. That Eito orchestrated the whole thing, including giving Gaku the key. Dominoes in motion. That I was very proud of that, actually. Sometimes when you're doing this, you see the through line. You see it. It's right there in front of you, and you're like, go for it. This will be a hilarious way to tie this all together. I really think everything about that Eito everything last week was like a streamer's dream, I would even say. Like it gave me every tee up possible. It was good stuff. Next for me. I think next is gonna be Eito, who I think if you asked me last week, I think I would have put him like here. He still would have been S. But seeing like more completion to his character, I'm like, yeah, nah. Yeah, I've seen that. It's satisfying to do. Lovely man, love doing his voice. Maybe the biggest damage he has done to society. Eito has ruined many things. Maybe not quite ruined the way Guarantee has been ruined. Because I don't actually find myself saying the Eito things in real life. But dang, dude, I do see the word library quite often and think, library. I do think that. And as of last week, I think the word tragedy is ruined too. I do see tragedy. Takumi. It's a tick. It's very much just something. If he's on the screen, if Gaara's a poison, Eito's a toxin. Funny guy. I think he's always been at the kind of center of everything, but never at the forefront. Again, until like last week, he came back quite a bit. I think the thing about Eito is that at the beginning of the playthrough, he was like the guy, kind of. And I think as the rest of the characters came into their own, Eito became more of a... Oh, how would I put it? He was more complementary to the... Oh, that stops? Oh, it went to sleep. I haven't touched anything. One sec. Come back. Hooray! Do we want to switch to like... We'll wrap this up soon also. Let's do this one now. Now that we're in the top 5, I guess, even though we're in the top 4. What was I saying about him? Oh, I feel like I kind of like let him slide to the side a bit, and the only bit I was doing with him, he never fell out entirely, thanks to the morning announcements and just the Eito voice, kind of. But the morning announcements bit, I'm glad I stuck with it. I thought I would give up after a certain point, but I didn't. And it was funny to shake it up every now and then, depending on what was going on in the plot. Because I think it was an important idea. What was I going to say on that? Because like at the end... By the end of it all, like, last week wouldn't have happened if we hadn't put so much stock into him. I think keeping him at the center of everything, but never the forefront, was a good idea. It made the long con feel more real. And it made it so much more satisfying to know that, like, everything he did was pain to him. He hated everything he did. And, like, the idea that he put himself through those announcements when nobody asked for them. Why would he do it? Yeah. There was also a whole session where Gaku taught him about porn. Which, in hindsight, is so funny. He must have hated that. That was suffering for him. I think Gaku was just... Isn't this hot, dude? Oh, I'm feeling quite hot, actually. And I think that made the final matchup of the two of them really funny in hindsight as well. But Eito, very cool. I think the long con is pretty satisfying. Again, I kind of got on his trail for, you know, genre-savvy reasons. But I think the hints were there once we... I think once they started to, like, tease a traitor at all, it was pretty easy to put it together. And I think the hints were subtle enough. I wasn't, like, onto him, until we started piecing it together. So I think that's cool. I think he's a very believable and kind of cool, like, villain motivation. That one feels like an Uchikoshi almost. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that he, like, played a part in that. Because it feels almost like I think it was a snack that said it was like, or Kingo maybe, that was like, it's like prosopagnosia. It's very similar like that. Just a very, like, a very non-traditional reason for someone to be a villain, I think. Literally just due to, like, an illness. Which I thought was kind of fun. And it definitely makes me look at his whole character in a different light. Yeah, I also agree with that. And I think it was a very fun reveal. Yeah, it had nothing to do with the grander scheme, which I think is cool. Because I really did think leading up to it, I was like, man, what's his motivation? How is he tied to the invaders? Or like, who was he fighting for? And then to just find out that it was just like for him, I think landed better than like him selling us out or something. And it adds an interesting wrinkle to all of this, because now there's just like a separate antagonistic party in the game at play. Like, we have the invaders, and we also know that Ato is just out here for his own agenda. Like, I think that's kind of fun. Like, they won't necessarily ally at all times. So that's cool. And now top 3. Yeah. I still intend to read him as, you know, as he's been, but maybe with subtle jabs. Yeah, there's some unlikeliness here in top 3, I will say. There is one in here who, when we were doing initial reads, I said, this is going to be the worst character in the game based on what I know about them. Because I did know that Ima had an interesting relationship with his sister, I'll say. I did know that going in, because I had heard about people being like, oh, this guy's gonna suck, like before anybody had the game. And I was also in the camp of like, this guy's gonna be gross. Boy, was I wrong. But where am I at here? Well, let me give it to you straight. I think the twins are my top 2. I'm gonna give Kyoshika number 3. I love her. Hilarious. She is a blast. And her voice acting is the best. She is the best voice actor in the game. She has the worst voice in such an endearing way, I think. She's really funny. I think she's like the perfect comic relief of like not like overly in your face. Like she's not obnoxious or anything. She just like is kind of like stupid. And she talks to her sword that she fucks. But she's kind of raw. She loves manga. She's an easy, like, slam the table and start pointing. She can easily farm reactions out of me by doing that. She makes JJK jokes. Come on. We don't even have to do it for her. She does it. She says Gojo meme in the text. She's funny. I love her. I'm excited for more from her. She's a perfect conduit for the Sunday stream for me to talk about manga. She can't count. She acts as a beautiful segue. I like doing her voice. I love the idea of her having this kind of voice, but saying things like verily or Sir Takumi. It's just such a weird mismatch. Yeah, I can see her being a very like, you know, if like like anime or manga, like specifically shonen, is like not your thing, then I guess like a lot of her doesn't land probably. But I still think you could like appreciate what's there. Oh my goodness, Sir Krillin. Kyosuke seeing Chaozu and going, Sir Chaozu, I feel so seen. And also she is the best character in battle. Like, bar none. Bonsai! She dreamed about Sir Goku and his big, strong arms. Is the Holy Jumanji Sword male or female? Do we know that? I would assume. Female? Awesome. She fucks a sword. She talks to it. I'm positive. Well, positive? I don't know. I'm, like, pretty sure there must be a route where the sword, like, talks. There's 100 routes in here. If there's a Kyoshika route, I'm positive the sword will talk. And I'm waiting for that day. That's right, party girl. Somebody allow that. She's hilarious. Like, even just on her own. I did soul read that she would be one of my favorites. I think going into this, I probably thought my top 3 would be like Kyoshika, Kurara, and maybe like Kako. I didn't feel very strongly about any of the guys going in. I guess I didn't know for sure if Kurara was a guy or a girl, but I was pretty positive, like, that she was a girl. But I thought those would be my top 3. So honestly, like, pretty good work here. And again, if not for the stream, I think Kurara would be higher. So I think my reads were pretty good on, like, who I was gonna like. And then Kako and Ima. Delightful. I think about them a lot. Who do I like more? That's a great question. Really what it comes down to at the end of the day. It's a big 50-50 actually. I'm thinking about it now and I'm like, I really went into this not knowing what this would look like. How about I just talk about them and then we'll see. Kako, I knew going into the game, I had been conditioned. I had been conditioned to like Kako before the game, before getting around to the game, and that's fine because it would have happened anyway. But Snack was drip feeding me memes about her liking slop and like lifting pizzas with her mind. I believe I knew that I like forgot about this until it came up, but once it came up I was like, oh yeah, I think I knew this about her, that she likes like detective stories. And I like Kako a lot. She's funny. I kind of had trouble at first landing on a voice for her because I didn't want it to just be like the high pitch, like the Fuka voice. Like that's like I do that a lot for this type of character. So what I landed on was almost like a gravelly sort of like someone who wants to be loud but can't be. Maybe like a refined version of the terrible voice we did for Olivia in Fire Emblem. Like a refined and perfected version of the whisper turned audible. I think that's what I ultimately landed on for her. Or that was kind of like my idea behind it. Like, let's take this and mold it. I think it works. I think she kind of sounds like that, to be honest. Yeah, it's... but as the game... at the beginning of the game, she doesn't do much. Which is fine, because again, like, I was already like, oh, Kako. I was already like, oh, Kako. And so when she finally came into the plot, I was excited. And not only that, I feel like she stuck around. She became one of like the main characters. I think. She kind of took over. She was always at the forefront from then on. And I think she was hilarious the whole way through. We can't let her drive the bus, even though she wants to drive the bus. She can ride her scooter if she wants, but like, you're not driving the bus. I'm excited for... Now that we have them both figured out, I feel like they got split up pretty early after they finally join. They kind of split them up and introduce, you know, all that drama. And when Ima comes back, he's C-Ray. So like, I'm excited to kind of have them back in a new context. Excuse me, sorry. Because they already inherently have chemistry. Like, they already play off each other all the time, and I think they are funny to just have play off each other. I think they're very entertaining characters, and I think endearing. They have such a nice relationship, I think, like, in actuality. They're looking out for each other, and I think that's nice. And I'm excited to learn more. I feel like there's probably more about their backstory to learn, maybe. I don't feel that about all of these characters, but I feel like there might be a little more to them. I don't know. I know we got most of their deal. But there might be something. I don't know. I definitely think that there will be shakeups where maybe, like, I was thinking about it. There might be like a role reversal where maybe Kako gets kidnapped and Ima kind of takes focus for a bit. Like, maybe that'll happen in some of the routes. Maybe there'll be a Kako C-Ray. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I think Detective Kako will make a comeback. I don't know. She's nice. She'd slop. I like rating the slop. And then lastly, we got Ima on the left here. I think, was it? I saw it a couple minutes ago. Yeah, the Ima voice evolved out of the Samurai Novice! My initial read on the character was that he just yelled a lot. And then I think he turned into like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged, like, Esperoba. I think that's kind of what it evolved into. And then I kind of just, like, turned it into my own sort of voice. Ima's hilarious. I really thought I would hate this guy. I really went into this thinking he would be my least favorite. He would be an easy under the bus. And now look at him. He top 2, possibly top 1. I just think he's like a funny, like, absurd character. Like, he, no matter what anyone says, he's like never surprised by it, and he's just on his own shit. Like, and so I lean into that heavily, where he is just like truly a selfish, like, self-absorbed character, except with regards to Kako. But even with regards to Kako, like, he's in charge, kind of, like, he's just funny to do. I really enjoyed, I think I enjoyed more before he joined. Because the idea of him sitting in the war room, like, yelling at everyone over the intercom while he's safe and sound up there was so funny to me. Once he was on the ground, like, he couldn't do that anymore. But I thought it was really enjoyable. I remember one specific one. I think it was when the second to last Defense Academy guys arrived. I'm pretty sure by that point, is it just Kako and... No, Shoma hasn't joined yet. But Kako and Imo were up in the radio room. And Yugamu, who we said, like, wasn't really taking part in the battles yet. He wandered into the school, wandered into the war room, and was like, "Hey, how are you?" And Ema was like, "Pull up a chair." Just hit it off immediately. I think he offered him popcorn or something. Yeah, they battled a bird that got into the school. Like a broomstick or something. Funny stuff. He has a radio station. He may broadcast all the... He may be broadcasting their location at all times. He may be feeding info to the enemy. I think we made a joke that the commanders loved him because they listened to his show. I think the invaders listened to his show, so when they kidnapped him, they were like, "Don't hurt him too much. He's a hero. Like, take good care of this one." And then he came back as C-Ray and was hilarious and also kind of cool. He became a leader through extortion, kind of, but I kind of respected him as a leader. I was kind of like, yeah, Ema's kind of spitting. I won't lie. Like, he's making better decisions than most of us. And I was genuinely sickened. I was sickened when the Supreme Commander crushed him. That was actually the most uncomfortable I felt all game. Despite all the violence and gore that we saw, that one made me kind of like, oh. I was hurt by that one. I think mostly because he was like screaming until the end. I was like, oh, this is uncomfortable. But yeah, I think at the end here, I am gonna land on... Also, these two keep popping up everywhere. We've talked about them a bunch in Pokemon. They were in Nier. Almost regrettably so. When we read that like book in the forest and it went on forever, I was like, oh no, why did I do this? I don't want to do the emo voice for 30 minutes. You could probably tell by the end that I was like phoning it in. Kako Red and Ema Green was a funny bit. They're always up to something, these two. I liked when they were running around investigating the traitor. It felt like they were on their own like Gaiden mission. When everybody else was kind of down in the dumps. They're good. I think I'm going to do this. Oh, I think this is where I'm at. I know. From perceived this to this. Awesome. That's the magic, baby. That's the magic. I think an argument could be made for maybe this. Or maybe this, but... This is what my gut tells me. But that's where we're at, guys. Let's see how much it changes by the end. If at all. That's the other thing, like... Oh. That's okay, this will still be here. I don't know. I think it's hard to change my mind. Sometimes, once I've landed on something. I think certain things can budge a little. But it's tough to change my mind at times. But yeah, it's a long game. We'll see what happens. If you think about it, we've barely played like... I mean, I'm sure we've played a significant percentage in spite of it only being Route 0. I can't imagine most of the routes are very long. So I won't say... Also, why are there ads? I can't say that, like, you know, we've barely scratched the surface. I think we have scratched the surface, but... there's definitely room for things to move around. Again, these two in B rank, I could see them going anywhere. They could go crazy. I think anyone here in A rank has potential to, like, evolve more. There are bits yet undiscovered. There are bits yet undiscovered under that gravel down there. We'll see what happens. Might get a C tier when we're done. I believe that. I guess we'll see, you know? But, that's it. That's it. That's us. Who was everybody else's favorite? Whether, I don't know. I guess... Who was your favorite in the stream? If you were playing the game? I don't know. I don't want to ask like too much of people who've like played through the whole thing. Maybe they have different opinions, but I think this is where I landed. But yeah, let's head back. Kako at the top. Kako's so good. Oh, also, what was I gonna? I had a couple more ideas about potential routes. I should write these down somewhere. It'd be fun to keep track. A new thing for us to give points to. I should write down all of the predictions I have for routes. At the end last time, when Kako went kind of nuts, killing the was it the Supreme Commander? It was the Supreme Commander, right? That she like mangled. They spent a lot of time focusing on that in a way that made me think we were like kind of hinting at like Kako going like axe crazy. And I was thinking like, what if there's like an axe Clover angle to Kako at some point? I could totally see that. Like a route where Ima dies early or something and Kako just snaps. I could totally see such a route. I think that's what that was kind of conditioning you to be ready for. I'm gonna write down every route that I have like a prediction on after today. I doubt we'll like hit anything too significant today. Maybe we will. And speaking of which, do we want to head over to the game right now? Or, before we head over to the game, while we're in the middle of yapping, do we want to just talk about manga and get it over with? This is us. Pack it and ship it. Back to the game, baby. Here we are. You haven't read it today? Unfortunate. I would like to talk about manga. Simply because... Oh, what is this? Was this icon always on these? Oh! Is there no Kyoshika on the menu? Usually I'd pull up her report card so we could do the Manga Dory corner. I guess there's no real, like, Kyoshika CG, whatever you'd call these. I wonder. I suppose this is the closest we have. Well, we have other options, though. We could hand on over to Kyoshika Magadori's Mangadori Corner. Actual. Would we like that? You would love that? Then let's do it. Let's talk about manga. It's Sunday. There was manga today. So let's head over to the manga corner and talk about whatever there is to talk about. This took a while to make. I spent most of yesterday making this. There's no music. Hold on, we can fix that. What's a good song? How about like, I don't know. I'm just gonna pull up a random. No ads. No, we don't want ads. We don't want them. Get the ads out of here. Ruh. Yeah, I can. I might post the individual pictures rather than the collage. Because the way I see the collage is that it could be ever evolving. I can still add to this if anyone has any fun ideas. But if you have ideas, I would ask that you DM them to me rather than post in the channel so we can still keep them surprises. But these were just off the dome. Yeah, she's on her journey. Also, the chat's kind of weird and cut off, but that's just because, I don't know. I cropped it as such. Sorry if the chat looks weird. No biggie. There was manga this week. It's Sunday. Manga Sunday. Yeah, this is kind of what, that is what I was going for. This is how she sees the world. I think she sees everything like this. She sees the world as manga. Yeah, the crew one took the most editing. And it looks a little ugly if you like really looked closely, but I don't know. The idea is there. Yeah, if there's anything that like I have context for that you think like would be hilarious, we can add it in. I had a couple that I yeah, Shoma's where Chopper would be. All the crew placements are intentional. There were a couple that I like did not there were a couple that I didn't finish that I did want to do. Can I name every manga in the picture? Oh yeah, I mean these are all. So Nah, I'd Win, that's JJK. Under that is Rurouni Kenshin. Up at the top here is One Piece. Sakamoto Days, Yu-Gi-Oh! This Yu-Gi-Oh! One was my favorite one, I think. It was hard to make. The idea that she didn't even think of herself as Yugi, she thought of herself as the Dark Magician. Also, this one, the Stand Proud You're Strong, it's so simple, but it looks hilarious. Stand proud, you're strong. Anyway, there was manga today. And we have a little corner for us to go to from now on. Which is fun. Yeah, Atomic Samurai says. I was looking for some One Punch Man stuff, and I was like, oh, duh. Gaku Krillin, and it's not super visible, but that's Takamaru Piccolo. There was manga this week. What was there this week? There was actually a lot that, or actually, was it just One Piece that was off? It was just One Piece that was off. I think I thought Akane Banashi was off because it wasn't showing up for me, but it was on. What did I read this week? I started with... What did I read first this week? Where is it? I think I read Kagurabachi first. And Kagurabachi was really good this week. I mentioned this, but we're kind of in the Before Times flashback, which is, I think in any series, like a key thing. You gotta stick the landing with your Before Times flashback. And so far I'm pretty excited by it. They're characterizing Chihiro's dad, who has kind of just been like an implied character up to this point, which is cool. But we're figuring out like the lore of the world, kind of, which I think is fun. Sakamoto Days was kind of this week. I mean, it was fine. It was about Osaragi, who is one of the best characters. But I feel like we have done this beat already, and I don't know if it's like super landing for me. But that's the Sakamoto Days way lately, unfortunately. I don't know that I love... Yeah, she's the she. Why did the music stop? Hello? Oh. Did the internet stop? No? Okay. Just froze up. I think you would like her, Snack. It wasn't like the best chapter, I don't know. I've shared many times that I don't like love the direction the last arc of Sakamoto Days is going. I just don't know if it's like landing in every place. But you know, whatever. It's very back and forth week to week. Ichi the Witch was cool. It was kind of just a wrap up on the arc. That squid thing. I'll say it. I like Squid Thing. I'll let it be known. I like Squid Thing. Squid Thing is good. Let it be known. It was kind of just a wrap-up chapter. But it was cool. I really liked... There were like... I love this in any manga. I don't know where I would have first seen this. But I'm just gonna call it like an Oda box. But a lot of series like do this. Where at the end of like the battle or at the end of like the arc or something, it like shows Oda boxes and all the characters saying like status victorious or something like that. They did a little check-in with all the characters and I was like, this is cool. It was like status heavily damaged but victorious. Oh yeah, we can double up on stuff. Poppy preschool playtime? That was cool. What else was there? Mage Next Door was pretty fun. I posted in the chat for that this week's chapter, just kind of to make Will laugh, but I said this week's chapter was Hijikata versus, I guess, I don't know, Abuto. Just because I keep, you know, we keep joking about it just being Gintama because it's very heavily, it seems to be heavily influenced by it. It does rule. We're gonna play that on here someday. I don't know when. This is Dragon Ball Advanced Adventure, if you don't know. I just grabbed a random manga game. What was I talking about? Which one was I talking about? Mage Next Door? Yeah, I don't know. After last week's disappointing chapter, I thought this one was like fine. I don't know. That series is on its last legs, I think. The Hijikata character teased a mysterious like love interest, and I was like, I swear to God, I swear to God, if she's sick or something. I guess we'll see if they even get that far. What else? Kanato's Magic was pretty fun. We introduced like the rival guild. There's a rival squire who has like all the powers. He has like the crazy potential. Versus Kanato's like plainness, which I'm looking at that and I'm like, yep, this seems by the book. This seems like I'm positive that this plot point is probably in all of these stories. But hey, I'm enjoying it. The lady they introduced had a pretty cool design. She seemed cool. I couldn't tell what her power was. I couldn't tell if it was like explosion or was it like malevolent shrine or something. Like there seemed to be some cuts happening. I don't know, but she seemed pretty cool. I think the direction this arc is going is that they will end up clashing. But I guess we'll see. It seems like it's doing its first like arc. What else? Kyoshi was a lot of fun. I love Kyoshi. It's my comfort, like comfort food manga kind of. I just love the artwork and the characters in it. It's like so simple, but like in an enjoyable way. And I love seeing it like evolve. I don't know. It feels like the one that I was like, this is my one that I get to watch grow and like improve. And it does. It has some funny gags this week, and some raw fights. Yeah, the scientist lady seems like she'll be cool, or the homie. If she's even still alive, I don't know. That might be the twist, that she's like not. But love that type of character. Alien Headbutt was raw. The kind of like second character that they introduced as like, he seems like he'll be like, you know, the second man kind of. He uses a sling. He seems like he'll be like the sniper, but with a sling, which is kind of cool. I think it's a little unconventional, in a pretty fun way. That manga continues to just be like incredibly simplistic, but entertaining because raw. So I'll stick with that. It's like a fine enough read. It is probably the thing I'm like least excited to read every week, or maybe Mage Next Door sometimes, but not in a way that I dislike it. Just in like a this is just a thing that I read kind of. And I think lastly, right? There's no Modulo anymore. I can take that off the list. JJK Modulo, goodbye. Although I did watch JJK this week, and it was a fantastic episode. I thought it was a great episode. Yeah, you can submit whatever. I'll do... There were a couple that I didn't do yet, that I just felt like this was complete enough. I can't promise I'll do all of them if I get like a lot, but if anyone has ideas, I'm open to them. JJK was fantastic this week. There was a fight. I won't say too much about it. But there was a fight against a guy who is kind of like, he's like a shitty character, kind of. He's like a throwaway kind of guy, but he's like the guy for one of the characters to match up against at this point in the story. Who I thought, like, in practice, like in animation, was extremely entertaining, to the point where I think Sis will appreciate this. This is not his ability necessarily, but as far as like the writing is concerned, it might as well be. He can pretty much just like make objects. He can like make objects and use them as weapons, pretty much. Like household objects or whatever. That's not really how his power works. There's like more to the rules, but you know, for the sake of writing, he can do whatever the writer wants, kind of. And after watching him like in animation yesterday and seeing what I think were probably like original scenes, I would think. I don't remember all of it happening in the manga, but they had a lot of fun writing or you know, choreographing him. To the point where I had said, like, I posted in the JJK chat yesterday and I said, I have a very extremely brave take. And I posted a picture of the guy with a greater than symbol, and on the other side was Momo from My Hero. He is what that character should have been, and that's not a good sign. Because this guy is not. This guy sucks. Pretty funny, though. One of those two characters did anything. Reggie. Reggie stocks are gigantic. There's also another character heavily featured in the episode. It's pretty much his introduction. He was technically like introduced earlier, but not like really. He showed up today, and he's kind of like a comic relief character. But a really good one. Like, genuinely, like a really good character, I think, the more I think about him. And in like the animation medium, I'm like very excited to see more from him, actually. I thought he landed really well. Some of his jokes are like hard to follow in the manga, or like don't land quite as well. And like part of it is that he's like not supposed to be like funny in canon. But like that in itself is entertaining. And I think it was amplified in the show. So I'm excited for his future scenes that I know are going to happen, obviously. That got me excited. But also, like, really well animated episode. Took an interesting fight and made it like really cool. Lastly, Akane Banashi, fantastic this week. They're kind of getting started on this little like rivalry arc, having like the rivalry they've been building up over the course of the series is finally starting to like result in a little bit of like a showdown. And today was kind of like the prelude to that. In a really fun way, they danced. There are battles in Akane Banashi now. They did a battle dance. It was cool. That's it, though. That's it for manga. My chapter of the week was probably between Akane and Kyoshi. I think I'm gonna give it to. I'm gonna give the Kyoshi dub this week. I think I really liked it, but it's between those two. What was your favorite chapter, Kyoshika? Kagurabachi. That's awesome, dude. Guys, we might as well go on break now, do you think? Should we just start the game once we get back from break? Might as well, right? Good break. May as well. This will be a funny VOD to upload. Alright, let's do that then. I will see you in roughly 15 minutes. Hang tight until then. And enjoy.